Hi everyone, I'm David Wojcik and this is MBOT TV. Stories we covered this week: MBOT elects a new chair of the board of directors. The City of Mississauga launches a new marketing campaign. Mississauga City Council votes on cannabis retail stores in Mississauga. And Premier Ford and Mayor Crombie have a sit-down. Welcome to MBOT TV, a weekly recap of what happened in business at the Mississauga Board of Trade and around the City of Mississauga. First up, our series on the corporate execution gap. Here's Fred Pitsadney from Focus Management with our Guru Gab tip of the week on assessing your organization's strength and how it affects your execution strategy.
Thanks, David. I think everyone is familiar with the SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. A major part of understanding your business situation. Let's focus. I'm Fred. Let's begin with assessing your organization's strengths. In my experience, these are often lengthy lists of the things we like about our organizations. We have great people, a strong management team, best products and services. Now, don't get me wrong. These are all nice things to have, but you need to dig a little deeper. How is it that you manage to attract, retain, develop, and mobilize those great people? How do you keep them great and help them become even greater? What is it about your management team that makes them strong? Their experience, their skills, the team's culture. And finally, what is it that enables you to imagine, develop, and bring to market products and services that truly are category leaders? Peeling the layers will help you identify the things about your organization that represent potential strengths, especially if they separate you from the competition. But more about that another time. Make it happen. Back to you, David.
Thanks, Fred. The Mississauga Board of Trade held its annual general meeting at the International Center last week to welcome 5 new members to the board and elect its new executive committee. Keynote speaker was Dr. Kim Stangby, Vice President with the Greater Toronto Airport Authority, who presented on the concept of Union Station West. The transportation hub plan for Pearson Airport will provide for rail, bus, truck, car, cargo, and passenger traffic with a view to reduce congestion and increase access times to the airport. 2018 Chair Paul Gaspar from UPS reflected on his year as chair and then turned the meeting over to the new 2019 Chair, Jim Molyneux, Managing Partner with MNP. MBOT is excited to welcome our newest team member, Ann Causey. Ann is a document certification specialist and will be instrumental in building this segment of the business. MBOT certifies thousands of documents each year for businesses that export to foreign markets. The City of Mississauga launched its new marketing campaign, Unlimited. The celebration took place at Pearson Airport with Pearson's CEO Howard Ng and Mayor Bonnie Crombie unveiling a temporary kiosk. Mohammed Faki praised Mississauga for welcoming him when he arrived at the airport several years ago and supported him as he built Paramount Fine Foods into an international company. Paramount recently won the bid to rename the former Hershey Center in the Paramount name. Coming up is our political report with Brad Butt and MBOT's upcoming events listing. But first, are you looking for ways to save money on your employee benefits? The Chamber Plan can help.
The Chamber's plan now offers employee benefit programs with greater selection, higher coverage levels, and more value than ever before. Take another look and see why we're the choice of more small businesses than any other plan in Canada. The Chamber's plan. It's for your benefit.
Now for our political update. Here's our Director of Government Relations, Brad Butt. Brad?
Thanks, David. Mississauga City Council voted 10-2 to opt out of the provincial government's cannabis retail store program for now. Mayor Crombie said, "Our council made the decision to opt out as we feel that the recent changes to the retail cannabis model have occurred too quickly and there are too many unanswered questions at this time. The province has not given municipalities any control over where cannabis stores can be located in our city. This is a cause for great concern. The City of Mississauga may decide to opt in the future. However, in the meantime, we will continue to consult and engage with our community. It's important we take the time to get this right. I will be writing a letter to the province to explain our council's decision, and will be asking for greater powers for municipalities to have input into the location and number of retail stores that are permitted in our city," the mayor concluded. On behalf of the Mississauga Board of Trade, I made a deputation to council in favor of opting in. This would have created new jobs, commercial property tax revenue, and provided consumers a retail store option to purchase legal cannabis. Meanwhile, last week, Toronto City Council voted to opt in, and the province announced that due to national shortages of marijuana, that only 25 stores will open across Ontario on April 1st to ensure their viability with the opening of the retail market. Last week, Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie met with Premier Doug Ford as he held a series of meetings with Ontario's mayors. Both reported that the meeting was cordial and constructive. It's always important for the city and province to work together, and this is certainly a good sign of things to come. Even though the provincial legislature had adjourned for the winter recess, it was called back on Monday to deal with a potential strike by the Power Workers Union, and the Select Committee on Financial Transparency met to draft its final report. Well, just in time for the holidays, the provincial government has announced consultations on alcohol choice and consumption. As part of its commitment to transforming alcohol sales, Ontario wants input on a number of areas, including improving the rules for beer, wine, and cider, and the types of stores, including corner stores and big box stores, and more grocery stores to sell these products, creating more opportunities for private sector sellers and distributors, and ensuring communities are kept safe and healthy. Businesses and consumers over the legal age of 19 are invited to share their views by visiting ontario.ca/alcohol consultations and providing input no later than February 1st, 2019. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce has released a position paper favoring carbon pricing as the most effective way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. In the report released last Thursday, the Canadian Chamber says there is general consensus in Canada that something needs to be done about climate change, and the debate should not be about if, but how it happens. So Perrin Beatty, the president and CEO of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, said, "You can't have a market-based approach to climate change without respecting the market and the input of business. Business wants to play its part in the fight against climate change, but our public policy has to balance our climate objectives with the need to ensure Canada remains attractive to start or grow a business and to invest. Done right, our policy framework will encourage investment in infrastructure and equipment that will lower national emissions and fund our transition. Achieving this balance will be tricky, but Canadian business is prepared to work with the government to get there," Mr. Beatty concluded. Well, the CCC also released its annual Crystal Ball report looking at both global and national impacts on business. At the global level, businesses express difficulties in navigating an environment where economic ties, trade routes, and growth rates are constantly in flux. The long-term trend toward global economic connectivity appears to be stagnating, if not reversing. And at the national level, it appears that the Canadian economy is poised for late cycle growth in 2019 and beyond. The International Monetary Fund anticipates Canadian economic growth will hover around 2.1% in 2018 and 2% in 2019. Deloitte projects a decline to 1.4% growth in 2020. And at the same time, the Canadian economy is in the process of a lagging structural transition from growth driven by consumption and housing activity to export-led growth and business investment. Rising interest rates and a deteriorating fiscal position are projected for 2019. Canadian businesses should take note, as this will have important implications for growth prospects, employment costs, debt servicing, and investment decisions. And finally, I'd like to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Back to you, David.
Thanks, Brad. And here's what's coming up at your Mississauga Board of Trade. On January 9th, Good Morning Mississauga is at 4 Points by Sheraton, Mississauga Meadowvale. Come out and connect with your MBOT colleagues. Book a speaker spot. Where else can you make over 100 cold calls in just 2 minutes? On January 15th, MBOT presents a USMCA panel discussion with 3 experts who will break down the good, the bad, and the ugly of the new agreement formerly known as NAFTA. On January 17th, we continue with our Executive CEO series featuring the founders of Extreme Bean. Matthew LaRochelle and Steve McVicker tell their story of how they created the incredible and successful and unusual complement to the Bloody Caesar. Listen to the story of how they grew their company from pickling beans on their apartment stove to the new 35,000 square foot facility here in Mississauga. And book your tickets and tables now for the annual Mayor's Address coming up on January 29th. Listen to Mayor Crombie as she outlines her vision for Mississauga over the next 4 years and beyond. This event sells out each year, so register at www.mbot.com/events or call your membership services manager at 905-273-6151 today. Details about these stories and events are available at www.mbot.com. This is David Wojcik, wishing you continued success in your business, a happy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and a very prosperous New Year.